Good morning, everyone. It's a little earlier than usual, but gotta adapt and adjust when life throws things in our plate. So, one of the most important things that we're going to go over today is the continuation of the month of love. And we're doing this through the recognition of our pure self. Now, many people are going to be confused by that statement. Pure self, what do you mean? Myself is myself. And just with anything that we experience with life, we need to understand that we haven't experienced or witnessed it all yet. And through the process of what we're going to kind of go through today, I want to show you that there is an infinite realm of space within you. And you're always actually in this space, you can say. And I'm very precautious, and I don't like to use the term state because this isn't a changing of mental states. This isn't some random, like your consciousness isn't changing into this state that's going to be temporary. That's not how this works. Um, Today, we're actually going to kind of reveal what we're always doing. And the problem that comes up with this is it's the emotions and it's the thoughts and it's the sensations that come up that actually distract us from recognizing this pure self or this space that's always present within us. And we do this through the power of recognizing it. Now, in order to get there, though, in order to actually see and witness this space, we kind of have to clear out all the junk that's kind of blocking us from recognizing this all the time. And this is where the power of deduction comes in, because with everything, meditation is very much a process of kind of discerning what isn't you to actually kind of recognize and experience what is you. And this is why it's so important that you find a place where you can really just let go of all the stressors of the outside world. And it's also very important that you kind of remind yourself that this is just your time for you just to fully let go and explore yourself. Because if we spend our entire life trying to fill our experiences with external things, surrounding ourselves with people, taking different substances, always kind of having to go out and do something, we're fundamentally experiencing life without the full knowledge of who is experiencing that life. And when you gain clarity on the internal and the who is actually experiencing and going through these moments of, ups and downs, then you're going to be more grounded in truth. And ultimately, that's always the most important thing here is that truth above all else. It doesn't matter what someone's telling you. It doesn't matter what you read. It matters what you experience, because you don't know what you don't know. And from where I'm at, I've experienced quite a bit, and it's my role and I guess you could say it's my duty to kind of uplift and show others that you're fully capable of these things as well, if not more. So today we're going to continue our practice of love, and we're still looking at ourselves. It's self-love, because this is the most important thing. But in order to truly love others and live life to our fullest potential, we must know who and what is living it. So, if you can, just make sure you're finding a nice, comfortable location, somewhere that you can, sit comfortably, whether it be lying flat on the floor or just sitting upright with some good posture. Now, per usual, you just want to make sure that you're just relaxing your breath. Don't strain anything. Just approach the meditation today much like sleep. It's that same excitement and love. We're going to start with our 3 ohms and then get right into our meditation. Allow yourself to simply be. Embrace everything that arises. It's important to accept everything that life is witnessing and experiencing for your own self. When we resist, there is tension. When we put in our own self-interest, our own expectation or assumption, we are bound to be disappointed when reality doesn't meet our expectations. Dissatisfaction, fear, doubt, even excitement, eagerness, they all distract us from what is real, from what is currently arising within our experience. In the East, they say to live, to observe life dispassionately. But in truth, the perfect word is indifferent, for you become and you observe life with no expectation. For it is our expectation that leads us down the path of chaos, tension, resistance. It's easy for us to look at what we want. Desire is a strong urge, and desire is in truth the fuel that keeps life moving. So first now, come to know that desire is not wrong. Desire is not bad. However, the game relies more on what it is you desire. Above all else, desire truth. No matter what, we all desire happiness. It is ingrained within our very being. For in truth, your happiness and love itself. And we're constantly living a life trying to fulfill that. However, nothing outside of you can ever fill that void that is within you. Only by looking within can do that. This is the ultimate expression of love. To look at what it is that desires, what it is that loves, that pains, that suffers. Your pure self isn't known through altered states of consciousness. For some, it can be recognized with the use of consciousness expanders or psychedelics known to many. But in truth, only you, when looking within, can fully recognize the truth, the absolute truth that applies to all. And this is no altered state of consciousness because, in fact, you are doing it already. You're already experiencing life, living it and simultaneously experiencing it. That is the beauty of life. We are not living life as individuals in reality. We are all life living in reality. Individuality is a misconception. And when you recognize the pure self, you come to see that firsthand. We are all expressions of life, united as one. And although our eyes appear different, they're all gazing from the same space, this pure self. Your life has shown you moments of your true nature. Those experiences where you fast forward through time, seemingly experiencing a small amount, but in truth, much has passed. Those moments of weightlessness as you experience pleasure and love and happiness with others or by yourself. In the many moments of simply staring out into the world, no thought, no emotion, just absorbing all that life has to offer. Its love and warmth is like the sun on your skin on a clear, cool day. It's refreshing. The space within you is infinite light. Though you recognize form, you feel limitless, boundless. Universal. But to come to this space, to remember your true position in life, you must see that which is not you clearly and understand it fully. We are beings of habit. It is only natural. And in our youth and throughout our existence, we are shaped, molded, conditioned, and influenced by our surroundings. We perpetuate these conditionings and these impacts of other through our own self-talk, our own beliefs, our own understandings. So what are you before the conditioning set? How do you express yourself? How do you view yourself? These can be known firsthand, but you must be willing, you must be courageous enough to question everything. This search is the only one that will yield fulfillment. for it is the only one that matters. To live and experience life without discovering and recognizing who and what you are is like constantly trying to collect cherries from a tree, but your bucket has a hole in the bottom. No matter the efforts, you'll only hold on to a few that manage to cling to the edge. But the true depth of life will fall right through. And though you will repeat the actions, the habits and cycles of life, it will be to no avail because the experiences can never stick. And with each moment, you come to see that which is truly you. It's like repairing that bucket and making the hole smaller and smaller till nothing falls out. Life is constantly trying to bring us to this place in truth. Our sufferings are meant to question, to be fuel for the fire of questioning, curiosity. Our suffering and pain is meant to be the tools for us to say enough is enough. No matter what happens in life, we will experience these moments of ups and downs until we're finally ready to bring our search home, to look within. Understand this is love. Recognize this is love. Because there is no higher truth than the knowing of what we all are. It doesn't matter what you believe, what you assume. I'm letting you know you can know firsthand. And this is the path. The inward path is the only one that matters. I tell you now, your pure self is like a fine scent, an aroma that you cannot locate. You only pick up the smell, the sensation. Not being able to quite put your finger on it, but it is recognized by the surroundings. In this same sense, to recognize the pure self, your pure self. It is like a cold or a sickness. You can only determine what the sickness is through the symptoms. And the symptoms here for the pure self are peace, calm, silence, emptiness, love, brightness, weightlessness. And a fullness that cannot be described. Many of you can observe this now. Some of you may still be hearing thoughts and distracted by emotions and physical sensation. But it is this pure self that is always witnessing and observing life. And there is a distinction in those that seek to understand and recognize the difference between experience and the experiencer will find peace and solace in their own search and looking. For that's all you need to do is simply look from the sense of being me. The task here is to say this me without any attachment, holding on to nothing. It doesn't matter what you do for work, what your skills are, what your knowledge is. Simply experience being yourself and come to know yourself. And know now that anything that falls away is not you. If your emotions go quiet in these meditations, your emotions are not you. If you seemingly lose control or feeling or connectedness with your body, realize your body also drops away and is not you. And just like your thoughts that may be quiet right now and are quiet in those random moments of life where your space is silent, you must see that your thoughts are not you. What is it that hears the thoughts, that feels the emotions, that senses the body? Discover, analyze, search, look. And in this same process of looking at what falls away, you can look at the temporary, the things that constantly change, and deduce that that too is not me. Deduction is our most powerful tool in this process of seemingly remembering our pure self, because we cannot hold on to that which what we truly are. It is intangible, hence the term spirit. But you can use your tool of recognition to see what you are not. In truth, anything in which you experience and can observe is not you fundamentally. But the only thing in your experience that is unchanging is your position. Even in dream, though our bodies might not be the same, nor the environment or situations, we still experience them from the same place. The world does not come into existence until you are ready to be present for it. We must use these subtle moments, the subtle moments where we recognize that life isn't so cluttered and chaotic. These moments of peace and stillness that many come about by chance. We must use these as the cornerstones to build our trust in faith in this great mystery that there is more than what we are taught, that there is more than what we currently understand. And just as you live life and your ideologies and beliefs change, there's something that isn't changing. That sense of me has gone unchanging throughout your entire life. But we overlook that which is simple, basic, because we're constantly trying to fill up our cup. But you must look. Look with a curiosity and discover the answers that you seek. Only you can answer them. If you experience a state of emotions where you're angry one moment and that anger is gone the next, see that as the simplest path to deduction. You must deduce that is not you. That anger, temporary moments of emotion, or temporary moments of physical sensation, as many experience the lust, the craving, the impulse. And just as much mentally, the thoughts that repeat and dig at us, that come and go. You must see them as changing and deduce that that too is not me. It's not you. Because if they were, they would be permanent. You would always be angry. Always following the impulses of the body. And like a doll, you will always be played by your emotions. And although you may experience long periods of time of being trapped within these realms of thought, within these emotions of the heart and cravings of the body, but they are not original to you. So you must be your own detective, like the great Sherlock Holmes, and see the power of deduction as our greatest tool in uncovering and peeling the layers of what is not us to reveal that which is truth, true about us, the truth of what we are, of what all is, and what life is. Our world is conflicted. Our world is caught in the realm of misunderstanding, for we seek all of our answers outside of ourselves, analyzing things, others, exploring the world, the physical world itself. But the search for the external needs to end, and the internal search needs to begin to finally answer the questions we've all been looking for. There's a reason why we haven't discovered the truth of the universe yet. Because we're looking in the wrong place. We cannot look at the universe to answer our questions about the universe. We must ask that which builds the universe. And that is each of our consciousness, the one consciousness, the pure self, the ground of being in which we all share. For this is a play of self trying to understand and know more about itself. And we are each selves amongst the whole. In many ways, life in the current search of the world is like trying to look at a screen with an image being projected upon it. We keep looking at the screen as if that is the source of the movie, but in truth, the projection's light, and the projection itself is that which casts the image to the screen. We must not focus on the physical, the lesser. We must focus on that which is given life to all. Our pure self, our true self. Only through seeing what we are not can we fully understand and recognize that what we are. And you're capable of this. You're doing it already. You're living life from a me. Now, what is that? What are you? And more importantly, what are you not? Keep pulling the thread, and the structure will unravel, and it will reveal that which was always present, but hidden. And through this understanding and sinking deeper and deeper into yourself, this pure space of love, all answers you ever have wanted to ask or will ask will be provided with answers. The chaos of your external life will settle. And you'll be able to navigate life comfortably, freely, and from a space of knowing that which is true and real. And as you come back, simply allow yourself to relax and open your eyes. And bring yourself back to the world you're constantly building. So that concludes our meditation this morning. Now, it's very important to understand that you can't unsee when you see something in life. I mean, it's pretty apparent. When you see something traumatic, when you see something joyful, you can't unsee that. It's a process of kind of experiencing something and changing from it. But so often in life, we wake up and we forget, you know, there's always a reason why they tell you to sleep on it. Um, because every morning we're given an opportunity to be different. Every morning we're given an opportunity, naturally given this opportunity to let go. And I use this as an example to show that life is always expressing the truth at all times, in all places. However, we can't keep overlooking the subtleties if we really want to learn from them all. And life teaches us through these subtle moments. It teaches us through these subtle instances of things being changed to kind of show us that each moment, each second that passes is constantly in a process of birth and death. If you want to think about it, it's like as one thing comes, it's like the moment is vertical and it's just like a deck of cards and it just keeps falling. Sorry if that image is a little confusing, but you need to think about it like, each moment comes and then it goes and it's constantly being recycled. A new moment comes, a new moment goes. And the subtlety of waking up and feeling fresh, feeling new, is that reminder. It's that subtle lesson every day we live. That if we look at it, we can see that, oh my gosh, every moment is like that. Every moment it can be a new moment. I don't have to hold on to something or someone that just, happened to me. If someone slams a door in your face, you don't need to be sour and bitter all day. Each moment is an opportunity for us to really just bring ourselves back. And we do this all the time. I can't express it to you enough. Excuse me. We do it all the time. We do it all the time. And you just need to look at the moments that we do it to see, well, what makes this one different than that one? Well, what makes it easy for me to hold on to someone cutting me off in traffic throughout the day versus when someone like drops something on the ground that I'm walking behind and I have to like stop. Like, I don't know, there's many different examples that you can use for like the subtle things that kind of throw you off in the day. But the most important thing to remember is that when you live something once, it's meant to kind of always point you towards a greater truth. Now, my beliefs, my understandings on, I guess you would say on fate, are a little different than many, because I don't see life as predestined, predetermined. I see life more as a tree. It's kind of like the one trunk is like you come into the world, when you're birthed, that's kind of one point, and then things can kind of branch off. And depending on where you want to go, you may stay on this branch for a while and it can turn into a little bit of a cycle, or you can go off on this branch when you grow and change and it turns into a little bit of different cycles like that. So, when you're born for something, you're not destined for something else. That's ridiculous. It wouldn't be fun. And life's fun. So you have to look at the lessons of a game. It wouldn't be fair either. But the thing that really ultimately determines where your life goes is what you show affection for. And when you show affection towards things that, are this external search, things that fill you up, you're repeating the patterns and processes of all of those things that are involved in misidentification. So fundamentally, many people are living in a cyclic lifestyle. They're living in these patterns. And when you come to really look at what isn't you in sense of, well, I always use myself as examples because it's my reference frame. And one thing that I, as a being, have been conditioned towards is, I have very passionate parents, and um, they're very, courageous people. They're definitely warrior-like people, and because of that, their basic communication and their basic interactions are seen as can be seen as aggressive from other people, because they have a lot of passion with everything they do. They put themselves into it. They put their being into their existence. But it also leads to the problem, because when an emotion comes up, when a thought comes up, when a sensation comes there, it's all kind of being invested into that outlet as well. And one thing that I had to overcome, um, in my youth, and even days ago, weeks ago, months ago, hours ago, it's always this that initial pull to get brought into that intense fire of passion, or and it would express itself in communication, where it's like I'm a pretty loud person. I can be very loud. So it's like the passion, it can excite me, and it gets overexciting, and it can very easily be too much for people, and I can push people away. Or more importantly, what used to happen a lot in my youth is that I would just see red like the bull and just get caught up in the emotion and the passion and the anger, like the excitement. Everything would just be all out, balls to the wall. And until I started to recognize these conditionings in myself, and kind of looking back at, well, when did I really start acting like that? A lot of it kind of happened after puberty and, during those teenage years, like many. Um, but I started to kind of look at, well, I wasn't always like that at all. And it was very interesting, because in a meditation, I essentially relived a few experiences, like when I was a child, when I was actually watching some of these conflicts and confrontations with others, expressing similar things that I had later on expressed myself. And at the end of the meditation, I was kind of left back looking, like, oh, that was really what kind of wild. I was like 4 when that happened, and it reminded me. It served as that remembrance of, oh, that's what it was like before. And then the question arose, well, why isn't it like that now? And after this, I was actually, like I always try to teach, life will show you and try to, you know, uh, it'll put you in the position to put your money where your mouth is, so to speak. And this was in college, and my girlfriend at the time had said something to me, um, after altercation with a housemate, and I was so just perplexed, and just being like, a situation happened. I was like, dude, how do they not get that? Like, I'm right in that situation. Like, they're 100% wrong. Like, they're being rude, like selfish, blah, et cetera, et cetera. And my girlfriend, now wife, was like, it's really hard for people to hear what you're saying when you say it a certain way at times. Because for me, it'd be like I'd get loud, I'd be booming, and it's complicated enough being a person of color. Like, there's so many different avenues and different interpretations of how things can be perceived. Um, but the moment she said that, in combination with what I'd experienced, I was like, just like, I'm pretty sure she was still talking, but for me, it was like Charlie Brown, because I just, that one point of just, it's it's not what you're saying, it's how you're saying it. I was just like, oh my gosh, that connected the dots. That was the one moment where it was just like the meditation literally lived itself out, and I overlooked the lesson it was teaching me in the moment. And again, it was reminding me and reminding me. And that's how life is for everyone, people. It is like this for you. You just have to look. There's so many experiences in life just happen. There's no point sitting there dwelling on, well, why did this happen to happen to me? Why did this happen? Like, accept the fact it happened, embrace it, but look at how can it be used for you? What is it trying to show you? And sometimes life is literally just there to show you and put you in a place where, let's see how you respond. Let's see if you'll make this a big deal, or if you'll move forward. And life will work itself out. I think one thing that with this kind of process of recognition and deduction is that, you know, life has been throwing these lessons in your face since you were a child. Believe that. And actually, no, don't believe it. Don't believe that. Question that. I want you to question everything I say. So look at that. Look at that statement. Life has been teaching you every lesson since you were a child. Everything you've come to recognize now, you've been given little moments and opportunities to learn this from your youth till now. But life keeps kind of getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And if you're not paying attention to it, that circle is going to get really big and these events are going to get really chaotic. And with the intense suffering, then boom, yes, you have a greater opportunity to learn. But we don't need to learn just through suffering. We don't learn through just suffering. Um, Always love to teach that, there's no such thing as success and failure. It's always you either learn comfortably or you learn uncomfortably. But even then, the comfortable and uncomfortable is just your perception of it. You either learn or you learn greater lessons. Failure, you learn the greatest lessons with failure. You still learn with success, but with failure, you learn what you like everything. You learn from the ground up. So it's important that you start to look at your life and look at these patterns and to really be able to recognize them first off, but to be able to discern what is not you in them, to be able to recognize that it's not necessary for you to destroy yourself when looking over or reflecting on an event. It's not necessary for you to, you know, care what people think about you. You know, People are going to judge you no matter what you do. So in your life, it's very important to just look within your own self and to kind of clear the clutter, clear out the system, look at things that simply are basic conditionings of other people, things that you learned and gained from your experience. Maybe something made you more closed off. And you need to see these things as unoriginal to you. And if you really want to try to bring it back to its ultimate source, go back as far as you can and really try to think, well, what was I like then? And what changed that? And why? And is that really true? Because most of us are caught in this game of how you think you are versus how you're actually being. Or in another way you could say this, it's you're living a life that isn't your own. You're living the life of other people, but you haven't really figured out, well, what is it that I really want? What is it that I really believe or know or feel is true? Um, and the one thing that is a big point with this is that if you're so certain about everything in your life, you probably need to look the most. Um, because I think that's one of the things that comes with truth and kind of recognizing and the recognition of what's kind of true and applicable to all is that the more I've quote unquote discovered of the universe, the less I know. And I know that I know nothing. It's the drop of water that I do know is like just the drop amongst the ocean, you know, like the grain of sand on the beach. And I think that's the most beautiful thing about life is that you can come to discover anything and everything you've ever wanted to know, but you have to be willing to really question everything you currently know to get there. Because unless you kind of eliminate the blockages, the pipes won't run smoothly. And in this sense of life and experience and discovering what's truth and real in terms of consciousness and what are we as people? What's life? What is life? What happens after death? Like you can discover all that stuff. Just because Western science hasn't figured it out doesn't mean it's not something you can't discover. I think that's something, how do things get discovered? They come from the realm of the unknown. And every person can be the forefront and leader in this search, which is the next phase of our evolution, in my understanding. Because what we are goes far beyond physical. You know, I'm not going to waste more time here in expressing things that I've lived through firsthand. I can leave it for another video. But, this isn't just me. There's thousands of people that have been experiencing this all throughout the world. There's plenty of stuff on YouTube. There's plenty of people written in the history books. Um, Plenty of philosophers and others who have discovered these things. And that's because we all have the potential. Ultimately, we all have the moment. We just have to make the opportunity. I say we all have to make the moment, but making the moment is really just embracing the unknown. It's just kind of like what was said earlier that you have to embrace things in life. And when you really discover what you are, you let go of things that are like things so lesser than you, like fear and negativity and doubt, and judgment. They're just not real. And when you see that they're not real, you can't unsee that. Um, I guess my closing note will be you have to love yourself. And to love yourself, sometimes the most loving and compassionate thing you can do is to let go. And in this sense, it's not a letting go that's a action. It's not a letting go like that. It's what was brought about earlier in terms of the indifference. It's just not allowing yourself to be distracted, not allowing yourself to to get swept away. And in light of the meditation, everything that goes on, those states of attention and those states of distraction, what is it that still recognizes those? What is it that knows, that discerns, oh, that was distraction, oh, that was being focused and attentive. That's you, the subtlest of subtle. And I want to kind of officially end uh, with a very powerful statement that I heard. And it's an age old saying. It's been around for a long time, but I looked for myself and I found God. And then I looked for God and found myself. And it doesn't matter what term you want to use, whether it's God or consciousness or the supreme being or the supreme or the Godhead or the father or the mother or the mother father or the father mother, like it doesn't matter. Um, the point is you can discover everything and nothing. And it all starts with you. It all starts with that sense of me, but it's you. It's that what's looking out at the world, what's looking at this image, what's hearing the sounds. What is it? And if you become more interested in your own being, your true being, that which is the experiencer, and not the superficial me, the external self, then you are at the doorway of the infinite, at the doorway of the eternal, and at the doorway of the unchanging. And all you need to do is just rest in yourself, and you will carry yourself through that door. But you must be able to understand, well, what is that me? So I really, really, really hope that this meditation and these explanations and these kind of insights can help you on this journey, because this is the most important search and it's the greatest expression of love. So thank you for joining me. Namaste. I vow to the divine within you, that is you. Have a good day, everyone. Bye. Let me just again awkwardly end these live stream meditations, because there's always, are you sure you want to end yet?